I'm about to show you some footage that was caught by a paranormal investigation team in an abandoned theater that is now known as the most haunted place in America. This has to be the scariest real ghost ever caught on camera. In 2019, paranormal investigators were exploring an abandoned theater when they caught the shadow of a mysterious figure standing at the top of the stairs. The video was recorded by a well-known paranormal investigation team. They are talking about how they have never seen anything like this before. As they walk further into the lobby, they start to hear some strange noises. They then leave the theater and go to a nearby cemetery. They were able to get some great images of the ghost of the man in the suit. People have reported seeing the ghosts of actors, crew members, and even some of the patrons. There are plenty of places like this around the world, and I am going to tell you about a few of them. This antebellum mansion is said to be one of the most haunted places in the United States. This sanatorium was once used to treat tuberculosis patients, but it is now a museum. Visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of patients and staff members. There is also a tunnel that connects the sanatorium to a nearby hospital. It is said that patients were transported between the two buildings through the tunnel, and many of them died in the process. Some people believe that the tunnel is still haunted by these patients. Guests have reported seeing the ghost of a little girl in a rocking chair. This prison was once home to some of the most dangerous criminals in the United States. Inmates have reported seeing the ghosts of prisoners and guards. There is also a cell block that is said to be haunted by the ghost of a prisoner who was hanged in the 1940s. She is said to be the daughter of the original owner, and she died in a fire on the property. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. There is also a doll in the house that is said to be possessed. Many people have reported strange things happening around the doll, including objects moving on their own and voices coming from nowhere. If you are scared of clowns, then you should avoid the Cliff House in California. This mansion was once the home of a wealthy family, but it is now a bed and breakfast. Guests have reported seeing the ghost of a clown in the basement. It is said that the clown was killed in a freak accident while performing in a show in the basement. His body was never recovered, and his spirit is now haunting the house. Some people have even reported hearing the sounds of music and applause coming from inside the theater. The theater is now known as the most haunted place in America. Many people believe that the spirits are trapped here because they died here and are unable to move on. They could also hear him moving around in the theater. He was making regular appearances throughout the night. At one point, he even walked right through one of the investigators. They were also able to capture the ghost of the woman in the white dress. They believe that she is the wife of the man in the suit. According to local legend, a couple died in a fire at the theater in 1918. They were trying to put on one last show before the theater closed. But the show was a flop, and the angry mob set fire to the building. The couple was burned alive, and their spirits are now haunting the theater. They wanted to see if the ghost was buried there, but they could not find him. They then went back to the theater and decided to set up camp for the night. They wanted to see if they could capture any other ghosts on camera. They set up cameras all over the theater and waited in the lobby. Around 3 a.m., they started to hear strange noises coming from the stage area. They investigated and saw the ghost of a woman walking across the stage. She looked like she was from the Victorian era and was wearing a long white dress. She then disappeared. They also heard the sound of footsteps and voices, but they could not see anyone else. They spent the rest of the night in the lobby, but nothing else happened. They packed up their things and left. Then they see something that makes their blood run cold. There is a shadow of a man standing at the top of the stairs. At first they think it might just be a trick of the light, but then they realize that there is no light up there and it is completely dark. They decide to investigate further and go up the stairs. As they get closer to the top of the stairs, the shadow becomes more clear. They can see that it is a man wearing a suit and a hat. Looks like he is from the early 1900s. In it, they were exploring an abandoned theater in Ohio that had been closed for nearly 30 years. It was originally built in 1918 and was known as the Palace Theater. During its heyday, it was one of the most popular theaters around. But after the theater started losing money, it closed down in 1990. Since then, it has remained abandoned and has become one of the scariest places in America. They had no one else with them at the time, but this sighting would not be the only one. So who is haunting the old theater? And what dark secret did the theater management try to hide? Welcome back. I'm here. And today, we're going to look at the scariest real ghost ever caught on camera. The video starts off with the investigators walking into the lobby of the theater. As the ghost gets closer, they continue recording, and the ghost eventually walks right past them. You can still see his face, and they can see that he is very pale and has a beard. The ghost then walks out of sight, and they can hear him walking around on the stage. They decide to follow him and see what he does next. As they walk down the hallway, they start to hear voices coming from the stage area. They walk into the room and see the ghost standing in front of the curtain. He looks at them for a moment, then turns and walks away. They follow him again and see him walk up onto the stage. He stands there for a moment, then disappears. After the ghost leaves, they check the stage and do not see him anywhere. When they got home, they started to watch the footage that they had captured. There have been many other reports of ghosts in the theater. If you think this is scary, I have some news for you. If you are scared of dolls, then you should avoid the Myrtles Plantation in Louisiana. If you are scared of asylums, then you should avoid Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. If you are scared of hospitals, then you should avoid the Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this video? Let me know in the comments below.